I think it's critical to recognize that when we talk about returns to education, both private and social, they're not just economic returns. Look, we're just not to be tone deaf to the story of the world today. We're on the brink of a third world war, right? We're on the brink of extreme polarization, or actually are already there. A lot of xenophobia. I think so if I say one tragedy in education is we should really be thinking of long-term returns and recognizing and measuring and showing how they are to kind of get back into that sort of conversation. I also think we need to be recognizing that it's not just about how well you do in math or science or your language, that things like empathy or tolerance or grit or democratic values are things which are teachable. They're not terribly different from math. They are and they aren't, right? And I think this distinction we make between teaching math and that empathy is something you're just born with, either you have it or you don't. That's like saying mathematicians are born, either you are or you aren't. So I think it's silly. And so I want to agree with what Laura said, which is when we think of these returns, and especially when we have investors coming in who are more socially minded, we should recognize and show, by the way, and we're beginning to measure these things, that same education experience, a higher quality school, not just generates better test scores in whatever subjects you want, but can produce a more civically minded, a more socially minded, a more magnanimous individual as well. And those are the things we should be willing to put our money behind, because gosh, the costs of that, the financial costs of that, what we're seeing now. We're even only in this conversation because we have collectively decided to spend more money. I don't know how else to put it, so I'll just say it, to kill people than to have people thrive. Like, that's a conscious choice we're making in society. And for me, that's a fundamental failure on certain basic human capital values, if you will, or human capital attributes. And so I think there is a massive return to that as well.